All right, let's talk about something that's quietly draining businesses and impacting pretty much every single person in the workforce: workplace stress. It's so much more than just having a bad day. It's a huge leadership challenge. So let's dive right in.
It really all boils down to this one big question. We all face pressure at work, right? Deadlines, targets, tough projects, and a lot of that can actually be good for us. It can motivate us. But there's a tipping point, a line where that healthy pressure turns into harmful, chronic stress. So, where exactly is that line? Let's figure it out.
So, at its most basic levels, stress is just a biological thing. It's that deep seated fight or flight instinct that kicks in when we feel like the demands are just piling up and are way too much to handle. It's not a sign of weakness at all. It's a totally natural reaction to feeling overwhelmed. Now, it's also really important we get our terms straight here. People use stress and anxiety like they're the same thing, but they're not. Think of it like this: stress is the trigger, it's your response to a specific real world situation. Anxiety is the reaction to that stress. Knowing that difference is absolutely key if you want to get to the root of the problem.
Okay, so why does this matter so much, especially for businesses? Well, let's just take a look at the numbers, because honestly, the cost of unmanaged stress is staggering. And I'm talking about the cost to both people and productivity. Just look at this number. Let it sink in. Over 800,000 people. This isn't some small niche issue that affects a few people. This is a massive public health challenge hitting the workforce hard. This right here, this is the human cost.
And if the human cost wasn't enough, here's the economic cost. Almost 18 million working days gone, lost, in a single year. That is a colossal drain on productivity, on innovation, on growth. This is all the proof you need that ignoring stress isn't just bad for your people, it's really, really bad for the bottom line. And here's the kicker. This is not optional. The health and safety executive in the UK is crystal clear. Employers have a legal duty of care. Managing stress isn't just a nice to have or good practice, it's a legal requirement. You have to assess and mitigate these risks, just like you would for any other hazard in the workplace.
So, where is all this stress coming from? Well, it helps to break it down into two big buckets. On one side, you have work content. That's the what of the job. Things like your workload, the pace you're expected to keep, and how much control you feel you have. Then, on the other side, you've got work context. That's the how and where of the job. This covers everything from your relationships with your boss and coworkers to the overall company culture. A lot of the time, it's a mix of both that creates that perfect storm. Okay, so we know what it is and where it comes from, but how do you spot it? While being proactive is always the goal, it's just as important to recognize the signs when someone on your team is already having a tough time. Knowing what to look for is the absolute first step to being able to help. Now, obviously, we never want to jump to conclusions, but there are definitely some potential signs to be aware of. Maybe you notice a change in someone's usual mood or behavior, or maybe their quality of work dips, or they start calling in sick more often. They might just seem tired or anxious or just kind of withdrawn. Catching these little shifts early can make a world of difference.
To really get our heads around how this all works, there's a great model called the stress response curve. It's a super useful way to visualize that link between our performance and the pressure we're under.
Think of it in 3 zones. First, you've got the stretch zone. That's the sweet spot, right? We're challenged, we're engaged, and we're performing at our best. But if we get pushed too far for too long, we slip into the strain zone. This is where fatigue kicks in, our judgment gets cloudy, and our performance drops. And if that pressure keeps up, it can lead straight to the crisis zone. We're talking complete exhaustion, burnout, and even serious health problems. As a leader, your goal is to keep your team in that sweet stretch zone.
Recognizing the signs is one thing, but what do you actually do about it? That can feel pretty daunting. But the good news is there's a clear, practical framework that any manager can follow to give real, effective support. This 4-step playbook is a fantastic guide. And it starts simple. Just open up a conversation, but in a safe, non-judgmental way. Then you offer real support options. And you always, always make sure it's confidential. Next, you work with the employee to come up with an action plan that tackles their specific stress triggers. And finally, and this part is so crucial, you follow up, you check in, you show them they're not alone and that your support is real and ongoing.
So helping individuals is absolutely vital. But the ultimate goal?
The big picture win is to build a workplace that prevents this kind of chronic stress from ever taking root. And that means we have to shift from just reacting to problems to being proactive with long-term strategies. And here's what that actually looks like. We're talking about training your managers, making sure everyone knows what support is available and how to get it, and building a culture where people feel respected and appreciated. It can even be practical stuff, like offering flexible hours or making sure there are quiet areas in the office for people to focus. Now, if you want a really systematic way to do this, think about this 3-level model. At the top, the organizational level, you can do annual stress risk assessments for everyone. Then, at the team level, you can use things like focus groups to find out what's going on in specific departments. And finally, at the individual level, you build in one-on-one chats about stress. This kind of comprehensive approach makes sure that nothing important falls through the cracks.
So, as we start to wrap this up, it's so important to remember the single most important idea in all of this. Tackling workplace stress is not just a job for the HR department or for senior leaders.
I mean, this simple sentence says it all, doesn't it? From the CEO all the way down to the newest person on the team, creating a mentally healthy workplace is a shared responsibility. Every single one of us has a part to play in looking out for each other and building a positive culture. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. Whether you're a leader, a manager, or a colleague, what is the one conversation you can start tomorrow? It could be as simple as checking in on a teammate who seems a bit off, or asking your manager about your company's stress policies. Maybe it's just sharing something you learned here. That one conversation, it really could be the start of real, meaningful change. Thanks so much for joining me.